This Indian state once produced the ancient world's greatest scholars. Today, it's India's poorest state, and millions leave it to find work. So what on earth happened to Bihar? To understand it, we have to rewind 1500 years. Back then, the whole world was rushing in to study here. Right here stood Nalanda, the most respected university on earth. A Gupta emperor, Kumaragupta, founded it in the early 400s. And he didn't build it here by accident. This was Magadha, where India's greatest empires were born. A short walk away, the Buddha had reached enlightenment at Bodh Gaya. Down the road sat Pataliputra, modern Putna, an imperial capital, and nearby, Aryabhata had already calculated pi and proven Earth spins. So Nalanda didn't rise in some empty village. It rose in the richest, smartest region of ancient India. At its peak, 10,000 students on one campus. They came from China, Korea, Japan, Tibet, and Sri Lanka. But getting in was brutal. Scholar gatekeepers grilled you with debate. Roughly 80% failed and got turned away. The rest studied the Vedas, logic, grammar, medicine, and astronomy. The teachers here trained the sharpest minds in Asia. For 700 years, it ran like clockwork. But underneath the golden age sat one fatal flaw. The whole place survived on one thing, the king's money. And here's the catch. Kings changed their minds. In the 600s, a Chinese monk named Xuanzang studied here. He carried 657 Sanskrit texts home to China. That's how far Nalanda knowledge actually reached. But when the Gupta kings faded, the funding faded too. And a university without money starts dying quietly. Then, around 1200 CE, disaster arrived on horseback. A commander named Bakhtiyar Khilji swept through Bihar. His soldiers stormed the monasteries and set them on fire. Centuries later, archaeologists dug up a thick layer of ash. So yes, a massive fire absolutely happened here. But honestly, the fire alone didn't kill this place. The decline had started long before any army showed up. The king stopped paying, so the teachers left first. Fewer teachers meant fewer students dared to come, and families started sending their sons somewhere safer. That's the human cost nobody talks about. It wasn't just burned walls, it was a broken chain of teachers. Slowly, the smartest people in Bihar stopped coming home. Now, you've heard the library burned for 3 whole months. But that dramatic version comes from much later legends. No eyewitness from that century ever wrote it down. The main Persian chronicle doesn't even name Nalanda, so historians think it describes a different monastery nearby. The real story is less cinematic but far more useful. The money died, rivals stole talent, and soldiers broke the walls, and yet somehow, a few people kept teaching here. A Tibetan pilgrim found monks still teaching in the 1230s. So Nalanda didn't die overnight, it faded over decades. And that slow fade is exactly what happened to Bihar. The richest, smartest region of ancient India lost it all. Today, UNESCO protects these ruins as a World Heritage Site. So next time that bus leaves Putna, remember what this land was. If this story blew your mind, like and subscribe to Alokick History for more bizarre history you were never taught.